If it ain't Nolazine TV, don't put it on.
What's up? It's your girl SunniThaRapper, and you are now tuned in to Nolazine TV. Check me out.
So, I'm like, tell the world, I'm like, where you from?
I was raised in Houston. I'm originally from LA, but I think I claim Mo City, actually. Let's get specific.
Mo City, huh?
That's specifically where I was raised at.
Okay, shout out to LA and Mo City.
Right? We ain't even.
So, like, you know, growing up and like between both, like, who do you feel like actually, like, embraced you more, as a music artist?
As a music artist, who embraced me?
Like, if it has California embraced you more, or like Houston?
Well, as a solo artist, Houston has definitely been embracing me more. I haven't really had an opportunity to be
in Cali
yet as a solo artist, but naturally it's coming, of course. Yeah, it's definitely coming. So I would definitely say Houston has embraced me more.
Okay, so, you know, growing up for yourself, like, who influenced you to actually get into the music industry?
Me and my friends started rapping together, honestly. That's about as simple as it gets. We started rapping together. Music has always been a really heavy part of my life naturally. My mom was big on music as well. We would just stay up on weekends listening to music, dancing, all kind of stuff. Like, it was, you know, I'm an only child, so music to me brought me and my mom together, because like we really bonded and connected over music a lot. Like, a lot. So yeah, I'm not gonna say that she necessarily got me to the music industry, but I'm gonna just say music has always been an expressive avenue for me since I was young. I started writing poetry in 4th grade, so of course from there they became lyrics. So I ain't gonna lie, I got my own stuff in the industry.
Okay. So how did you come up with your music name?
SunniThaRapper came from a nickname.
Okay.
Everybody was calling me Sunni. I had got gifted a hat that said SunniThaRapper on it, and everyone kind of just started calling me that, and to me it really rang the bell. Most of the time when I walked in a room, I was the only rapper, so everybody was like, there goes SunniThaRapper. So I just ran with it. When I became a solo artist, I stamped it, and that's what I'm branding.
Okay. So you were in one group before you before you actually became one solo artist.
Yes.
And you like, who founded who founded that group? I'm sorry, I can't get it out.
No, it's okay. I actually founded the group.
Okay.
It was 3 of us. It was 2 rappers and a singer. We met I reached out to the singer on Facebook a while ago, and it was really history from there. We became, you know, we had real sisterhood, a bond. We became a group. We got signed a couple of years after we became a group. And then we decided to collectively all leave and stay independent artists. So, yeah.
So, you know, you were telling me earlier that you had Beyonce's dad as the manager.
We were signed to Music World. He was our manager and label, which I wouldn't suggest anyone to do that.
Dang.
Don't have your manager and your label be the same person. It's a conflict of interest. In case no one knows that, because we didn't know that.
And so how was that like? Because, you know, because he was a manager for one girl group actually sings, right, and you rap, so, you know.
Well, we actually supposedly brought him out of retirement. He saw us at a showcase. Long story short, he saw us at a showcase and was interested in us. Had us come back a couple times and then offered a deal. We sat on it for a couple months and then we ended up signing. So it was different for him. He even admitted he was just more so on some, I came in the industry with a bang, I want to go out the industry with a bang. So he was like, I came in with the #1 R&B group, I want to come out with the #1 hip hop group. That was always the goal. That was what he always talked to us about. So honestly, it was different, but we soaked up a lot of knowledge, learned a lot from him. And I feel like he did what he needed to do during that time frame. And we just had to choose us at the end of the day. And it was just one of those decisions where we were like, all right, We learned a lot. We've accomplished a lot. And we can continue to do that. But we feel like it was best for us to just to go independent.
Okay. So, I'm like, tell the world, what's the average day like for you?
Man, an average day like for SunniThaRapper is crazy. I literally don't have time to do anything rest because I wake up immediately tending to social media, immediately trying to promote my single, my video, my TikTok, my Twitter, my whatever, because I've only been a solo artist since October, really. Released my first single in December 28th. So I have a lot of groundwork that I'm also still doing. So I'm trying to gain subscribers on my YouTube. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly promoting things on my social media. That's always number one. And then for two, depending on what I got going on, I have to go, if I have an interview or if I have a video or if I have a studio session, it just depends on what my day looks like. But for the most part, I'm always having to do hair and makeup because I'm a brand ambassador for a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a lash place. So I constantly have to go back and forth and visit them, change my looks up, get content for them. So I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly, of course, creating new songs, raps. I gotta do my freestyles. Like, it's just like the day is always hectic. It just depends on what's most important that day that gets accomplished. But it's literally always, social media, music, looking good. That's what my days consist of.
So, do you have any brand new? I'm like, I can't even get it out. Do you have any brand new, projects coming up?
A new, brand new what?
Brand new, projects.
Oh,
like music
projects
and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely dropping a project soon, but right now we're focusing on singles and freestyles. Just like I said, building up all areas of my numbers that I possibly can, from YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that. I'm just really constantly trying to build my numbers up. So I'm constantly trying to drop content, good content that my fans and people are gonna want to repost, are gonna want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all a method to just building my numbers. So I've been focused on dropping music and dropping content. I'm getting ready to drop another single. I'm getting ready to drop another freestyle, 2 freestyles actually. So it's like I'm just constantly dropping stuff. I let it sit for a second for look good, because I'm really losing my first single and I was really pushing that. And I'm still gonna be pushing that, but I'm about to gear up everybody else for some more stuff.
Okay. So tell us what separates you from other artists.
Separate me from it. I feel like with personally, a lot of people, I'm going off of what people tell me, and then I'm gonna go off what I think I know, which it kind of to me is the same. Like, a lot of people feel like with me, it's my personality, it's how I express myself in my fashion, how I'm always such a positive, good energy no matter what it is I'm talking about, rapping about, showing y'all. Like, I think that's kind of what separates me. I don't hold on to negativity. I don't sit in it. I don't promote it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, any of those things. Like, anybody knows me or comes to my page, you're gonna smile, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the energy that you're gonna always get. And I think that, unfortunately, in the female world, it's you have them, but at the same time, like the bigger ones, everyone got their own vibe, and everybody vibe ain't that. But I think with me, that definitely sets me apart. And then, of course, with my music, combining my music and my fashion, me actually having bars, me actually rapping, and me having that confidence and that aggressiveness in my tone, I think that also sets me apart, because I'm not no just little fragile thing in my voice, my lyrics, none of that. Nothing about me is fragile. So I think I give a very strong but warm energy off.
Okay. Well, being a female rapper in this music industry, I want to ask you this: like, do you feel like it's kind of harder being one independent female rapper, like this man's dominated game, because basically we interview so many female artists, and they always say these males always telling me I'm like what they could do for me, but the whole time, but they trying to actually, I'm like get stuff from me. So like I want to know, I'm like, how do you feel about that?
Man, that's definitely a thing. I personally don't have too many experiences where, you know, I feel like people will tell me one thing but then they really want to fuck, or you know what I'm saying. I haven't personally had too many, but I know a lot of female artists that do have that issue. I have a lot of people who bullshit, who say certain things but don't follow through with it, and it's usually always on the male end. When women have always came to me, and it's funny because the two people that I have behind me are women. They're both women. So with that, like, I don't have to deal with much of that because they come and they've been that forefront for me, and they've been helping me, and they've been kind of, you know, that median in between me having to communicate and talk with a lot of people. So I get to fish out the bullshit a lot, but everyone doesn't, you know, everyone doesn't have that in the beginning. So it is a little harder because a lot of females kind of got to find their way until they find their team. And I'm still growing my team, but fortunately, like I said, for me, I do have two people there to help me, and they're both in the industry, you know what I mean? They both don't take no BS, so I don't personally have to deal with many of those situations, and I'm so thankful because I've been put in weird situations in the past and in the group, you know what I mean? But now as a solo artist, I haven't had to really deal with that. And I'm glad because I feel like I paid my dues in that lane. I'm good, like I'm not dealing with that. And it sucks because it's a very male-dominated industry, and that is the #1 thing I've always been taught, even from men in the industry, that unfortunately that is the #1 thing. They're always going to try to play women and control them. Those are two things that we have to deal with.
Put you in a bad contract.
Man, put you in a bad contract. That's the #1 thing they probably love to do.
Well, speaking of being in a group, like, do you feel like, well, I just want to know this personally as well, like, being in a group, do you feel like, you know, as a female music artist in a group, do you feel like you always, I'm like competition?
Do it feel like we was in competition?
Yeah, do y'all feel like y'all always in competition?
I know I personally was never in any competition. I started a group. I went through 3 members.
Oh, so you was always in the group?
I was been in a group. I was in a group for 10 years. This year was the first year that, you know, we decided to go solo. We transitioned, of course. We had an original member, we had another member, and then we became a duo. So I've experienced different levels of being in a group, you know? And
you also experienced multiple and very much different as, like, you know, personalities, egos.
Definitely, you deal with personalities.
People feel very, very, like, entitled.
You definitely deal with personalities, and definitely deal with ego. But the #1 thing that matters is building a sisterhood and a bond. You know, like, fortunately for me, I came in a situation with both, like, with my group, we were friends. Even with the one that, the singer that we brought in later, we still grew a bond together. Right. So it didn't feel too much like, okay, we're just, you know, we're in a group and this is what we're doing. It was like, nah, like, your family is my family. We doing this together. We holidays, like, we really had a sisterhood and a bond. So I personally didn't necessarily feel like jealousy in my heart or anything like that from anybody. But I do know, of course, there are moments that come along where other people get in other people's ear, and, you know, people start branching out, people are having boyfriends, and you get certain scenarios and situations where you gotta bring people back down to earth. Like,
oh yeah, because boyfriends,
you know what I'm saying? People start feeling themselves,
and they get entitled.
You know what I'm saying? They get entitled, exactly. And we did deal with that. We dealt with that over all the groups that I had. We dealt with that, but we always dealt with it in a very, you know, humble and respectful way, where it was never like no issues or breaking up. Like, even when we became a duo, from the third girl, you know, like, it was some weird shit going on with her and Matthew, but at the same time, like, she didn't even want to do music no more, really. So it was like,
well, I ask you this question: how was your relationship with him?
My relationship with him was, you know, an artist and manager relationship. He was not the best in certain areas when it came to, like, his anger and his mouth, which a lot of people already know that he is very, you know, quick with the mouth when he feels away, which will make you feel away, because it's like, I'm not your child, why you talking to me like crazy? But at the same time,
you gotta give him credit, because
you have to, right? He was
the only, like, if his only artist was
that wasn't, a lot of people know that was not his only artist. A lot of people feel like that was his only artist.
Well, that's his only.
Child was not his
successful.
Successful.
Okay.
He managed a lot of people. Like, I could give you a list, and I'm not even about to give this list right now because I don't feel like talking about him that long. But He managed a lot of people and a lot of groups too that weren't just women groups, male groups as well. And all of them left him. So common denominator is him.
I would think it would be kind of crazy being a music artist and just look at him like, man, oh, he's Beyonce daddy. So your mind kind of like, oh, he know what he doing. So
right. No, he was smart. Don't get it twisted. He was very smart. He just had personal problems and issues that, to me, didn't allow him to grow, or allow us to grow at the highest we could with him.
But you have to learn the business as well.
Yeah, and we learned the business, and we experienced a lot. We met a lot of people because of it.
Right.
You know, and all of those people was like on our side, but they wanted us to grow, and they knew, unfortunately, that we was under a certain shadow when it came to him. And that was honestly the reason why we knew we had to leave, because it started interfering with us and what we had going on and the opportunities that we were getting, and they were getting knocked off and not finished because of him. Right. And that wasn't fair to us, because it's like we're over here working our ass off and things aren't certain things aren't happening because of him. Right. And because of that relationship and whoever, you know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those situations where like you appreciate it, you understand, you take what you can from it, and then you learn. And that's what people always tell me. People are always like, man, you don't seem like you just got in the game. I'm just like, I'm not.
But you had a learning experience.
I had experience. I went through artist development. I went through media training. I went through all these different things that most artists probably never really get to see or know until they
because most artists don't know that.
Most
artists don't know that actually most record labels actually sign you to that artist development.
They signed. That's what he did.
They get big
signed us to artist development before we even did a rollout or anything like that.
And it takes a long time to actually do the rollout. Artists don't even get that point. Like so many artists just actually think as soon as you get signed, boom, you about to be on.
It's supposed to like magically happen. Nah, it's not. But at the same time, you do have to also make sure that you're a priority.
Yeah, you got to build leverage.
You know.
Oh, but like, I have this question, like, you know, so many female groups, like, why you think like no female group actually lasts? Cause like it's been so many female groups.
I think it just depends.
It's like you know when you go on, you know, like when you watch everybody's documentary, but you kind of hear the same thing you were saying, like the boyfriends came into life.
It's always
entitlement.
Unfortunately, it's literally always has something to do with some type of male.
Damn, gotta blame the male, huh?
And it's funny because the number one thing that, you know, Matthew being the person that he is, he always, of course, you listen to him and you listen to anyone who has done something before you and you're trying to get there. So number one thing he told us when we first came in his office was, eventually y'all will split.
Dang.
It might not be now, it might not be in a few years, and it might be later on down the line. He was like, but the number one reason is gonna be because of a dick.
Damn.
That's the first thing he said to us in the office. He said, I bet you $100,000. He said, probably gonna be more than. He was like, but at that time, he said, I bet y'all $100,000. He was like, later down the line, whenever y'all split, it's gonna be because of that. And it might not be like in a messy way or anything like that. It's just that when women, example, Migos, they can be a group, they can separate, they can come back. One has a wife and a kid.
But they never separated.
I say separate as in go do music.
They do their own things.
And they can live their life. A woman cannot have a whole family, live a whole life, have kids and a husband, and be in a group.
Well, and also, you know, most people don't give the Migos credit. They actually grew up together. They're cousins. It's a whole lot of stuff with them, too.
It is a whole lot of stuff with them. That don't matter. SWV was sisters and it still broke up. Blood sisters. You know what I'm saying? So that don't matter. With women always are submissive and put themselves second to me. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what women end up doing, but that's what the fuck they end up doing. And it always becomes, well,
just what Boosie
they
said.
Want to become a team with their man. Now you and that man is a team.
Right.
Now you and that man is priority. Now it's you and him against the world. You know what I'm saying? But then it becomes, okay, well, where does everyone else fall in line?
If like 9 times out of 10, if a female always go to do, not even in the music industry, and this guy got so much to say about the music industry, who don't know nothing about the music industry.
Or they might be in the music industry and they feel like they can do more for them. Whatever the case may be.
You know what you gonna tell her? Hey, baby, but I think you should go solo.
And it sucks, though. It really does suck, but that's unfortunately
like
the number one reason.
It was even like on like Destiny Child, you know.
But
all
even
went
with
through
Destiny
stuff.
Child,
like they even went through stuff.
they went through things, but even with Destiny's Child, Beyonce had a decision to make, only because when you want to grow and you naturally want to, when you get to a certain point where everyone isn't on your level and you want to level up, and it's not like you don't have love for them anymore, or you don't want to, you know what I'm saying, include them or anything like that, but you know that in order for you to get to that next level, you have to separate yourself. And with Beyonce, she had to separate herself to get to that next level.
She really didn't separate herself.
Separate as in go solo.
All right, go solo. But also,
she didn't separate because she kept her girls with her.
And she always kept her friend.
She always
her main friend. Kelly was out. Yeah, she always.
Michelle, of course, had her own because she was gospel, but Kelly and Michelle was always along with her along the side. I mean, on the side.
No, I'm talking about, but like
you know what I mean.
But like Michelle came,
right?
I mean, later on down the line.
She
I'm talking about like if her and Kelly grew up together.
Yeah, they
so
grew
it's like
together.
she made sure Kelly always
right.
Like
Kelly was gonna always be good. She's a sister in Beyonce's age. She's not a friend.
Right,
They literally are sisters. So. You know, it's a different, and that's how it should be. You know what I mean?
Like you said, it should be a sisterhood.
Right. It should be a sisterhood. It should always be a sisterhood. But unfortunately,
there's a lot of
I think Beyonce was blessed because she had her parents in her corner. She had her mom. She had things that most people didn't really have to worry about at that age. The issues and those problems wasn't something that she had to. All she had to worry about was being an artist, being Beyonce. They made sure she didn't have to worry about anything else. So unfortunately, when life with people, it just makes certain make people have to make certain decisions because of certain situations. Is what I'm gonna say. So I just feel like it depends on. I'm not gonna say every group is because of that, but it just really honestly depends on what people's situation is. But I'm gonna say 98% of the time.
I get you. So,
that's what it is.
Got this question for you. Being in the music industry or being around it for a while now, tell us what do you enjoy most about it, and tell us what do you actually hate about it.
What I hate about the music industry is that it doesn't wait for no one, and sometimes I be wanting it to pause for a second so I can catch up. I was just talking about this. It's like on go 24/7. You're on go 24/7. Like I said, there's something that's always could be being done. That's the only part that becomes stressful, mentally stressful. And that's really the only thing I don't like about it. And my favorite thing about the industry, my favorite thing, period, about music is performing. My number one thing, I will practice my butt off for those 15 minutes on stage. And it will feel like the best time of my life when I'm on stage. And that's really like that moment. It's like a rush. And that's what, like, you work up for that rush, So my favorite part of it is definitely performing.
Okay. So, performing. So tell us, what was your favorite concert performance that you had? And I'm also, tell us why.
My favorite had to have been thus far, like, it was my first 2 shows, but the Tay Money concert was my second ever solo show. I got to open up for her at Warehouse Live, and it was amazing because I had so many people. We had almost about 60 people there out for me, and my girls came on stage. It was a lot of people in the city there, so they got to see me debut as SunniThaRapper. So right now, that's been my top one, but we know it might change up. But thus far, I'm gonna have to say my Tay Money concert.
Okay. So, since we got you here, we gotta ask this question. So, are you single?
No, I'm not. I have a girlfriend.
Okay. So I had another question for that after. I'm about to say if you could date anyone in the music industry, you don't have to ask it though.
Date anyone?
Date anyone, or you do. And who would it be, and tell us why?
What?
You don't have to answer it though.
I probably wouldn't date anyone, but like sperm donor, because I talk about this all the time. I'd be like, people gonna think I'm crazy because I'm scoping my sperm donor when I get ready to have a kid, because why not? I'm gonna have to
Who you
pay.
want to be a sperm donor?
Yes, I might as well pay somebody that I know.
Is who you interested in being sperm donor?
So between Drake and Keith Powers, I need one of y'all two to be the sperm donor for my kids.
Yeah, but I don't think Drake trying to be no sperm donors. And because he put hot sauce.
Right, I saw that shit. Like, stop playing, bro. Like, what? Who thinks to do that?
If that's $1 billion baby.
That's crazy. He said, "You ain't nobody getting me no more."
He learned once, huh?
He learned once and said, "Nope." But if you got that right dollar number, I don't know. He's a businessman.
You can buy him. You can buy a baby, man. I'm gonna buy me a baby.
I can't really take that question serious. But yeah, those would be my sperm donors.
Okay. So tell your fans something about you that you don't show on your social media.
That they don't know on can't see on social
something
media?
about you that you don't show on social media.
I can only think of funny things right now. I pass gas a lot. I can't even lie. Like my digestive system, like every little thing makes me have gas.
Every little need some probiotics.
Everything. I don't know. At this point, I don't know.
Hey. Okay. So
I don't talk about it much.
We'll leave that alone. So, well, tell your fans this. Tell your fans, what's your favorite song, that you have released so far, and also, tell them why.
My favorite song that I've released? That's not
so
fair because I've only released 2 songs.
Well, okay. You can tell them your favorite song that you got coming up then.
Nah, Look Good has definitely been my favorite song thus far. It just hits differently. It's like when it comes on, the beat, the vibe, like everything about it has just been really, really great. And when I perform it, the energy is just crazy. So I'ma still rock with my single, Look Good. Make sure you go stream it on all platforms.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So, where do you see your music career going? 3 years from now.
3 years from now, I'm definitely trying to be on top of the female hip hop list. Like I know there's a lot of female artists that's coming, and I'm trying to be at the top. I'm trying to be at the Grammys. I'm trying to be, endorsed and branded all over. Like I want to be the next poster girl. I'm coming for you, sweetie. I like sweetie though. I like it. I'm coming for you.
Okay. So, so what's your advice to one younger female artist that's trying to follow in your footsteps?
Younger female artists trying to follow me in my footsteps. For one, make sure this is really what you want to do, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be inconsistent, but you have to stay consistent. The industry is inconsistent, but as long as you stay consistent and you actually produce good content and good music, things will fall in line. So stay consistent and make sure this is really what you want to do. Make sure this is really your passion. Because some people do this thinking that where everybody else is doing it and people are getting overnight success, but nah, make sure this is what you really want to do.
Gotcha. So, I got this question for you. Name your top 5 greatest music artists of all time, and they can also be, dead or alive.
Dead or alive, my all-time top 5 is definitely Tupac, Lauryn Hill, Drake, Wayne, and can I put me in there?
You and you.
Because I'm putting me in there. Top 5.
Top 5. Okay. So tell us, what do you think you'd be doing, if you wasn't doing music?
If I wasn't doing music, I probably would either be owning a clothing boutique or line, or I probably would have started out teaching, but some kind of way figured out how to get my own after school program.
Okay.
I wanna build a youth center, kind of a chain, kind of like Boys and Girls Club. But yeah.
So, tell us, what's next for you? Do you plan on dropping merch? Do you plan on, starting your own label? Having bigger features?
I definitely got merch. I dropped my SunniThaRapper, and I know it look good, little nigga line.
Yeah.
From my first single that I dropped. So shout out to, come to my Instagram. I mail. If you want a shirt in United City, I'll mail it to you. So holla at me. I definitely have features on the way. People have been hitting me up features, and there's a few in mind that I have. So be on the lookout for that. And as far as the label, me starting a label, it's too much to it. I don't have time.
And man, you gotta be a female boss, man. You gotta sign
No,
a female
that's
artist.
but you gotta start somewhere. Look, I want to start somewhere and learn first.
I got you. And also, but last but not least, tell everyone. I'm like, where can they find you on social media? And these other, like music platforms.
So you can find me on social media and all music platforms. So this is a, an easy one here. But you can follow me as SunniThaRapper, which is at SunniThaRapper. And if you want to look for my music, same thing, SunniThaRapper. Look Good is my track. It's on SoundCloud. It's on all streaming platforms. It's on YouTube. Whatever you listen to your music on, go cop that Look Good single. I promise you, your first listen, you gonna want to jam it again. So just give it a listen.
Nolazine, make them scream. Nolazine. Make them SCREAM. Scream. Nolazine, make them scream. You heard me.